Welcome to the Boulder Street Conversations podcast. We're so glad you're here. This podcast exists as a resource to our community to go deeper into the conversations we have on Sundays. Excited to get into the content with you today. All right, well, we are here talking about our series we've done through Advent, through Christmas, called Come Near. And so a little different this time around. Instead of kind of taking time after each sermon, we're going to kind of end cap our sermon series, and we're the three who communicated this time around. So we're going to kind of direct our conversation towards the idea, the themes around the sermon series, and then we'll kind of take detours into each of our messages as it comes up. So then we'll kind of, each of us will be a little bit of the subject matter expert for a few minutes, and then we'll come up and have a question and go somewhere else. But really starting off with the idea, Dan, I'd love for you to share some of the heart behind the sermon series in general, the idea of Come Near, which I think is a shorthand maybe for Advent itself, like a twist on how to talk about what Advent means, but I'll let you share more.
Yeah, so obviously Advent meaning the arrival in Latin, the Latin word of arrival, and celebrating Jesus is coming near to us. And James 4:8, one of our favorite verses, talks about those, it says, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. And so in the season where we want to focus on talking about the incarnation, it is this picture of God drawing near to us and our response to draw near to him. And so even when we talk James 4:8, that when we draw near to him, he'll draw near to us, I think that's beautiful. We preach that all the time, but the reality is prevenient grace. The idea is that we come to him first because he first came to us, and he first drew us and pursued us. And John writes, we love because he first loved us. And so it is this relational, this Jesus has come near, and then the human response is let's draw near to him, to which he then responds by drawing near to us. And so I think that's really the idea, and specifically that we would leverage this culturally normal time to talk about Christmas and talk about the idea of God coming near to us, God drawing near to us, and that we would then in turn draw near to him. And I think it really broke down in the 4 weeks where two of the messages mostly were predominantly about God coming near to us, and two were predominantly about our response to draw near to him.
Yeah, and one of the fun things that we did, fun for preachers, I don't know if it's fun for everybody else in the room, but for us, fun that we chose songs that people are familiar with around Christmas time to kind of frame our conversations about God coming near. So I think that was really fun, and hopefully people, as they're walking around, shopping, hearing stuff on the radio, whatever it might be, playing Christmas songs in their house, a song will come on, and they'll go, oh, actually, I was thinking about this because I heard a sermon about it. So that was kind of a fun way to...
Which I had people text me asking me, oh, are you going to do this song? Or are you going to do this song? And so specifically, we chose songs that had the theme of come near, or, the idea of God coming towards us or us drawing near to him in either the title or the theme of the song. So I know we didn't hit every great Christmas, and Christmas carols have such rich theology.
Yes.
That was the other piece of it, is that we sing these songs every year, or at least some of us do, I guess. And it's like, what are we really singing? And there's so much theological meat on that bone. Let's talk about it. Let's take this as an excuse to talk about that. And even in the 4 songs we talked about, I'm like, we didn't hit the depth of what all these are. So
not at all.
Yeah.
And not at all. And we're a DJ that doesn't take requests. We are not out here taking requests for your songs. we had songs in mind.
We did. I think people were just, hey, can I expect this? I have anticipation. I was like, don't expect it.
Don't.
No, it's not happening. It's not happening. So you kicked us off.
Yeah.
O come, Emmanuel.
Yeah. I got the oldest, most liturgical song by far. I mean, that song was like way stuck back in history, written in like the 800s. And so anyway, so it's a old song. It was beautiful and eventually came to English way later on, and then even later than that was kind of given the form that we have today. But what I love about that song is it speaks to the deep internal longing, the desire for Jesus to come. And it just comes at it from different angles about things that we desire. And yet it's landed in that refrain of, he will come to you. Will come to you, O captive Israel. He'll be in your presence, in your midst. And so this idea that I love about it is that you dream big about who God is. All these different verses are so like talking about the cloud and the fire that we see in the Old Testament, that we talk about God being mighty and full of strength. And then also the refrain is always, he's so close. He's so close. And I think that was the beauty, is this desire to be loved by a God who's so big, and just the comfort of that he'll come and be so personal. So I think that's what I loved about that. And I actually think it was really good for us to start the series in that particular song, because it talks about the longing so deeply for us to come near to God, but really the longing for him to be in the midst of what we're doing. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things to me about Christmas, is God getting in the middle of our mess, like the temple, the tabernacle, the temple is not close enough. Being with a priest is not close enough. I actually want to be in your midst, and actually I want to leave, and it's better that I leave because then the Holy Spirit will be in you. Like, this is the story of Jesus. The come near, O come, Emmanuel, be with us, and not just be with us for the moment of Jesus' life, but as he's resurrected and sent his Spirit, he's in us and with us now. So I just think it's a really great frame to start walking into Christmas with, this longing and desire. And so hopefully the idea is that people would connect with some of those longings and go, oh yeah, that is in me. This is, Amy, you want to speak to this maybe, but you prayed this kind of at the end of that service. We're like, hey, if you're in this room and Kenny's talking about longing and the song we're just listening to is talking about longing, if that's not in you, and you invited people into that, and that seemed to be something that resonated with you.
Yeah, I think just what's beautiful about Christmas carols and even old hymns is what's beautiful about this season is that it's recalling the story. And I think even this Christmas, as our kids are getting a little bit older, some of the Advent devotionals, they go back to the garden. Like, let's start there. And so we're already in week 4. And
I complained about that yesterday.
Oh yeah.
You were serving in kids, so you don't know. But I was like, why are we in Genesis?
Yes.
We're to talk about Christmas.
Yes.
But it's good. You need it.
So good.
And so I think that one of the beautiful things about the song that you covered was it was telling the story of God and the story of choosing Israel and why he chose them, and then him coming through that line. It's tracing the seed is what a part of what Advent is. And so I think that when you begin to look at the whole story, I think it creates desire. It begins to create longing of this is what I am a part of. Like, I'm a part of something so much bigger than my little, this is what I want for Christmas. And right now, that's what my kids, we talked about longing last night, and what has it felt like to be, we're impatient, just ready for Christmas to be here. So that's a little drop of what they feel. They're just ready to open the presents under the tree. But ultimately, it's like, okay, remembering we're a part of such a bigger story. And when we begin to tell that story, I think that awakens longing in us. So and if it doesn't, it's like, oof, okay, where have we become so self-consumed and self-centered, and our pain is our reality, and it's so close. But I feel like telling the story, it lifts our head higher from our current story.
And I thought you did a great job of going through the verses, telling the story, kind of, 20,000 foot, here's what they're singing about. But also, here's how this is our story. Here's how this applies to us. And so I thought you did a great job in that.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, that song is particularly special to me. I shared that my uncle, who's passed away some years ago now, but it was a singer in a medieval-style choral ensemble. And so that was a big part of his life and his experience. Anyway, so the recording that I played at the end is a recording that was from 1990. That's the year I was born. What I didn't know is that my mom was at the actual recording. So it was released in 90, but 89, she was there, and I was in her tummy. She told me, she texted me afterwards. I was like, man, I should have said something to you. But yeah, so it's crazy. Like, there's a personal connection to that song, but I think that you're exactly right. It's a part of all of our story. And it's beautiful to see that. It's also fun to kind of trace something back through Christian history and go, oh, people have been meditating
Yes.
on this for a long time.
Yes.
And we're entering into something that's beautiful. And then even those other songs, there are riffs on that. There are riffs on the meditation of Advent, so there's not to diminish any of the other songs, just to say it's fun to kind of every once in a while go, oh, wow, we've been doing this for a minute.
Yes.
It's kind of fun. Yeah.
And I love, I think of O come, Emmanuel. And I just think of Isaiah 9 and those who are walking in darkness but have seen a great light has shone. And they will call his name and then list the names of God and Emmanuel, God with us. And so the thing that I think we try to do, and you did a good job, I think that all of us in this season have tried to do, is holding that Christmas is joy, Christmas is happiness, it's celebration, it's incarnation, it's all the good things, and also those walking in darkness. There is the shadow side of life, and how do we hold both of these things? I think you could have come to church the last few weeks and be like, oh my gosh, why is this is Christmas. Why can't we be happy? Why are we talking about hard things?
Right.
But I think that's part of the reality of life that we're walking in, is there are these dark moments, these shadow sides, but in it, there's beauty and joy and hope and peace and love that Jesus brings. And so anyway, I think starting there was so great.
Yeah. So next week we moved on to Come Let Us Adore Him. And
Yes.
so, Dan, you share with us about that one. You want to?
Yeah, you made fun of me because we did a Christmas carol of Come Let Us Adore Him, and I said, let's turn to Isaiah 6 and Revelation
Yeah,
4,
I did make that
Revelation
joke.
5. That's what it is. So, you know what? I love this song. It's just so blatantly praise and worship.
Yeah.
It is just so, let's turn our eyes to Jesus. Oh, come let us adore him. Oh, come let us look to him. So we talked about the heavenly scene of what's taking place in Isaiah 6 and what John sees in Revelation 5 of these creatures that are constantly shouting out praise. And so that was a big part of it. And I feel like the thing that landed on the most, even in my own heart, was just the call, the different words in Hebrew for praise. And that we would be those who clap our hands, and that we would be those who lift our voice, and we shout for joy, and we lay down, and we put our face in the dirt, and all the different things that we see, the declarations in the Old Testament, the commands of how to praise. And so when we're talking about, oh, come let us adore him, that's, I think, really one of the things that we want to talk about. So we were talking about him adoring him, and we talked about praising him forever, talked about that give him all the glory, and then that he alone is worthy. So I will push back. That sounds very Revelation 4 and 5 to me. That sounds a lot like Revelation 4 and 5.
All I was saying is that we said, let's talk about the birth of Jesus. Okay, turn to Revelation 5. That's really funny to me. Yeah. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think it's funny. It wasn't turn to Luke 2. It was, great, let's talk about the birth of Jesus. Revelation 5.
Yes.
So I think for me, I think there's just something to, and I have even tried to implement it in a greater way, but times when I don't feel like worshiping, times that I don't feel the music or the and I know worship is not just in the musical setting, but that I don't feel like, oh, this is moving me. So I don't come in feeling like, oh, I'm just so ready to engage. And then I don't feel like, oh, the music is moving me to engage. And so I feel that these words that are the definitions of praise, oftentimes when I clap my hands, when I kneel, when I sing, and so the words for spontaneous song and victorious song, when I do those, it seems to me that my heart, my emotions will follow that. And so it's this conviction to praise. It's this conviction to worship, to adore, to this is what we're going to be doing forever, but that he's worthy and that he's to sing of his glory. And so it's the conviction to do it. And maybe I'm just rambling here, but I think I'll just speak as a middle-aged man. I think I can get away with being very stoic. Mm-hmm. I can just stand. No one really expects me to be exuberant in worship. Ooh. No one, that's like,
it's true.
kids can do that.
Wow.
Young adults.
Women can do
Yeah.
that, but men, it's okay if you're just a very. And I just don't think that's what we're supposed to do as God's people as we worship Him. He's either worthy of worship or He's not. And so sometimes though, it's let's engage our mind, our heart, let's engage our body, and that's what leads me to actually wanting to be a part. So I think that's kind of where we hit and where we landed.
I think what's so good, and I feel like what stood out to me was just the very real bodily movement. Like through your body, how are you expressing praise? Because I think that we talk about worship a lot, and we interchange those words a lot. Like praise and worship. We don't even really say it anymore. Praise and worship. Like people don't
We've
say
dropped
that.
praise.
The
praise team is out.
We have dropped.
The worship band is in.
Yes,
The praise
worship
team is out.
We don't talk about praise, and I think that we've also tried to honor how we worship the Lord through task.
Yeah.
Through
Presence
our what do we offer our bodies as living sacrifices? Like through my work, would it be
Yes.
worship? Would it be a sweet fragrance to the Lord? But I think in trying to give dignity there, I think that we have lost the element of praise in our corporate setting and like why we ought gather, why we ought come to a building with a larger group of people than just me and my car or me with my family. Like, why do we come here? And I think that what you highlighted was just that the praise definition biblically is very physically demonstrated through our bodies. And so I think it was a good reminder that it's not a preference, but in Scripture where it's a command. And this is how He says this is what it looks like, guys.
Yeah, I just want to read these. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this because I just will. But, there's obviously scriptures for all of these. But Shabbat, a shout praise, expressing confidence and triumph. And so there's times that it's like to shout, not even sing, shout. Barak, to kneel, to bless the Lord, expressing humility. Yada, to extend the hands. I love it, to throw hands. I'm going to throw hands in praise. Tada, which sounds like a magic trick. I don't know, but a thank offering. And we talk about this one so much, to bring gratitude and to be thankful in praise. Takah, to clap your hands, halal. This is the primary Hebrew root word for praise, to celebrate extravagantly, to express joy and celebration. Tehillah is a song of praise, often spontaneous. Zamar is to praise with instruments, to express joy with music. So even what I said, we do have a team that is oftentimes, playing music, and that is part of it. And so even when there's no words, we can praise with music. And so one little thing was even why, you mentioned why, when we gather, when we're here, when you're at church or you're at a prayer meeting or you're at any setting where there is a team leading you in worship or leading you in praise, what is our job? Are we spectators? Are we the audience and it's their job to pull us into it? Or do we come and we, by the nature of how we engage, that actually gives energy, like the team feeds off that? And I think just giving validity to, we're all worship leaders here. Like we all play a part and we all have a role to go into this. And so when we join together, it's not like the person on the instrument they get to worship and we don't. This is a team sport, and we're all doing it together. So anyway.
So I have a question for just the two middle-aged men.
Oh, you brought it in. You were there. You're in it. You're in it.
I am.
What does this look like? What do you have to overcome when you show up on a Sunday morning or when you show up to a prayer meeting? Maybe in your youth, you were more extravagant. You were in a community where it's like you would dance and sing and, so what do you have to overcome to engage in praise on a Sunday morning?
A knee injury.
Spoken like a true middle-aged man.
No,
we have ibuprofen at the front for
right.
you, along with the
Earplugs.
earbuds and ibuprofen.
Earplugs, ibuprofen, middle-aged man. It's a picture of me and Dan.
Don't put that on me.
I think certainly optics, like what are other people thinking, that does play into it. I think for me, sometimes in worship, writing is helpful, like in praise and worship. And I'm not disengaging, but I'll want to sit down and reflect on something. Not often, not all the time, but sometimes. And I feel like, okay, no, I'm not supposed to do that. I think the jumping thing, regardless of the knee, the joke aside, I feel like, okay, do I feel fake? Am I going to be, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's those internal thoughts of like, am I looking fake? Do I feel fake? All of those things, rather than just expressing in a moment, if something comes to mind that is an expression of worship, to be able to be embodied and to do that. So I think there's some of that. I will say on the flip side, I have had many years of engaging in worship, raising hands, clapping, singing along, that it's not as difficult because it's a muscle that I've worked for a long time. I think pacing, bowing my head, kneeling in worship, those things are common to my expression, and so it's not as hard for me to overcome because there's been years of practice in that. But it doesn't mean that they don't enter my mind, and sometimes now they start to feel, is that childish? That thought comes in, and as though childish is a bad thing. Let's say.
Yeah, let's say what Jesus says about that.
Yeah,
but
I know.
I do want to just say, I don't think sitting is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think being still is wrong. I think you can engage in worship without being expressed. I think you need to check your heart posture if you are doing any of it because of the eyes of other people.
Right.
So if you are not throwing hands in praise or clapping hands or lifting your voice because this feels silly, that's beneath me, that's downstream of caring what other people think. And also, if you're rushing to the front of the room to dance around like crazy, and it's downstream from I want to appear to be a passionate spiritual person, that also is wrong motivation. So I don't think it's for any of us to look at others and say they are worshiping or they are not. I think that these are commands in Scripture for things for us to do. That helps me. When it's like, okay, no, I'm like, not because the drummer's good. I'm supposed to clap my hands because that's part of it, And I'll just speak to a moment I did have probably, or that I remember probably as a teenager, so not middle-aged me, but where I remember being in worship and feeling silly and dancing. And I had this moment where I was like, I just had to have the conversation with the Lord. And I don't know, whatever. The conversation was, Jesus, even if this is just like entertaining to you and you're laughing at me, would I care more what you think than what the room thinks, what other people think? And so there's part of it where it takes this, is he worth it? Is he worthy? Do I really believe he's worthy? And so maybe it starts small. Yeah. Maybe it starts in meditating on the scriptures that lead to praise. Maybe it starts with small phrases and it grows over time into more. And expression is not the goal. But again, I think the point is that I think the reason that these words are used is because oftentimes when we engage in them, it actually leads the rest of our, of our being to worship and be a part. So I don't know if that answers your question.
I feel like freedom is a part of the goal, that there isn't, that you feel free to celebrate expressively your gratitude and thanksgiving to the Lord. And it's like what comes out, naturally. Are the angels programmed to bow?
Right.
It's like, this was, this is, I think they're overcome and then they respond.
It's a visceral response.
It's a visceral response.
Yeah.
And so I think that the goal is, if you're not having any visceral response, what's happening in your heart? But then or do you feel stuck? Like, I don't feel free. I feel like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, is there a mental battle happening we ought be celebrating. Why can't you? So the question is, why can't you celebrate? Are you not able to celebrate? Like, I don't feel like celebrating right now. Like, or you don't feel free. You feel stuck. You're stuck mentally in the I'm a middle-aged man. We don't do that. Is that where you're stuck? What's causing the stuckness? And I think the goal is freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom to express however you feel like expressing, giving celebration and adoration to the Lord.
This example has been used a ton, but I just think of, it's no secret that I'm a sports fan.
Sports fan.
Yeah, I like all of them. I'm a competition fan.
Yeah.
Going to a game, if you're not clapping and shouting and lifting your hands when your team is doing well or yelling when they're not, then it's kind of like, do you enjoy this? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you what? Why are you here? Why'd you take the time to come down here today
Pay
if you're
money
just gonna not really be into it? And I get into it at home when they can't hear me in embarrassing ways. But here's the other thing that I think of is in the day we live in is the access that we have to the players who stand on the sideline and the coaches who stand on the sideline stoic. The coach can't show emotion during the game. I mean, somewhat, the players can't ride the highs and lows because you got to just stay consistent, and you can't, when things are good, you can't get too high. When things are bad, you can't get too low, right? And that's real. And then, this is what I'm saying with the access we have today, you get the videos of the locker room post a victory, and you have these large human beings dancing and celebrating as if no one's watching, even though we all are now. And so I don't want to just put it on a personality. I think that it's how can we be engaged? And I don't want to we stayed on this a long time. I don't want to overemphasize as if there is something more, you're a better Christian if you dance in worship, if you lift your hands. I'm just saying, I think these are tools to help us do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And the thing that in this song, go back to Christmas, that we're going to praise his name forever. This is what we're going to do for eternity. And these are tools that can help us engage in it now when we lift shouts of victory and spontaneous song and clapping our hands and bowing our knee, which was very meditative, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's not just expressive.
Absolutely.
It's what you talked about. It's using your body to lead
Yes.
into where your convictions of who God is.
I'd love to. I know we've been here a while, but I want to double click on one thing real quick. I love this. The structure of this song is the person who's leading praise calling to the congregation to praise. Oh, come, let us adore him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we give him all the glory. They're calling the directions, and I think of it in the congregational setting. I think it's really important that we don't forget as a congregation how to follow the lead of a worship leader or a team that's leading praise.
Good.
I think of this is going to be a weird one, so stay with me. I think of the dog sled races, like the Iditarod Trail. Do you know this Balto story? If
Yeah,
you're familiar
I've
with
seen that
Balto.
movie, yes.
Yes, because we're middle-aged men, we've seen that movie. Anyway, the idea is that there's the person who's running the sled at the very back, and in our little example here, I'll say that's the Holy Spirit, that's God calling the shots. But then there's a lead dog. And the lead dog is the
good.
one listening to the commands and going left, right, straight. We're going to pass. We're going to go on by. We're going to pass ahead. And so the idea is that the rest of us, we're engaged.
Yeah.
We're part of the team. We're
That's
going
so
somewhere. We're not
good.
stopping.
Yes.
We're not just relaxing and letting the lead dog take us. It would
Wow.
destroy the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we're also listening, but really we're following the lead dog. And so
Yeah.
it's just this humility of mutual submission. And so when somebody from the front says, oh, come, let us adore him, our ears should perk up and our hearts should position themselves. And so if somebody goes, hey, open your hands in prayer, we should freely sit down our coffee, close our eyes, and open our hands in prayer. Say, hey, would you clap along, give the Lord praise? And we start clapping. And we should all do it because we should all be committed to the idea that the Holy Spirit's calling to the lead dog,
that's so great.
and we should go, And so, oh, come, let us adore him. We should all go, oh, yeah. Let us adore. What does adore mean? Okay, what are we bringing that's adoration? Oh, we're going to praise his name forever. Okay, let's think about eternity and how that's going to be a part of our story. So anyway, that's just an analogy I wanted to bring into it.
Interesting because all of these songs are about oh come. So I preached on the Little Drummer Boy, which is like the most newly written song, whatever. but it's all like, come. It's all an invitation. And it's like, and here's what we're going to do. And so I think it's just, I feel like, I don't know if this has always been the case, or we have such independence. Our relationship with Jesus is so independent. And so when we come to a corporate setting, I think there is an element of laying down our independence. And it's like, I come corporately in order to go, okay, we're following the leader here. Where are we going to go corporately? And I think that, man, if we had more of that perspective of like, okay, I'm laying down my kind of personal rights, preferences, relationship with Jesus when I come to a corporate setting, and I'm going, okay, we're now a part of a body. We're now a part of a team. And Holy Spirit, where are you wanting to go? And here's who's in charge, and we're going to follow. And I wonder just what the Holy Spirit would want to do in our midst if we had more of a sled dog mentality. And okay, and here's the deal. If you want to lead, let's go. Then let's, but I think it's like, okay, I just feel like what would happen if our perspective shift and went, I'm coming to a corporate setting, I'm laying down my rights, and I'm going, Holy Spirit, where do you want to go? These are the people who are leading, and okay, let's follow.
Which I think is a little bit of the point of we're all on the team.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so everybody has a role to play.
Yes.
And so it's not, I love what you said, it's not just, it's their job to go. And I just do nothing and make them pull me, you know?
That's right. Dead weight.
Yeah.
Yes. Bunch of dead
but,
dogs.
but by just sitting here and engaging, and one of the things that I love, since we've now moved into corporate worship, I think almost every time we gather as the church, it is a unique sound. Never before has this is not always the case, but never before has that sound of those voices, the people, the exact people in the room with the exact even instruments in the room. This is a unique sound to the Lord. So yes, you can engage, you can worship at home, and those are different, but come, let's worship together. Come, let's adore him together. And it is a new sound to the Lord. And I love that. I think there's something about, my being there.
Yes.
I think sometimes we think it doesn't matter if I'm there or not.
Yep.
And it matters for every person to come and add their voice. And this is the point of, I don't think Jesus cares if your voice is a good sounding voice. That's not what his ears are different. Now, he loves good music. He made music. He designed music. I want excellence in music. But when it comes to our voice and singing and being together, anyway. Okay. Oh, sorry.
And it doesn't matter how little we have to bring. I was trying to be really
Yes.
Yes,
professional.
good. You were doing
was
it.
trying
You were
to
doing
get
it.
With, like we said in the drummer voice. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, I think it's the idea of like we all have a gift to bring. We
Yeah.
all have something to bring. And I think that that's what corporate worship ought to be. So we all come with a gift. And are you bringing your gift? Or are you just watching somebody else bring their gift? And that's what's different. We're not coming to a birthday party, like watching somebody else open. It's like, no, we all come and we bring our gift to Jesus. And I think what I just love about the little drummer boy is he feels poor. He feels like I'm coming with these kings who are bringing gold and frankincense and myrrh. I mean, could you imagine showing up and like having like someone with a $100,000 check, and you're like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna sing you a song.
Yes.
like we would withhold it. We withhold it. We compare it. And what I love about the end of this story song is the little drummer boy. He brings it. He plays his best, and Jesus smiles. And that's what's different about the God that we serve, is he's looking at, he just wants you to bring it. Bring whatever you have to bring. Bring the best of what you have to bring, but just bring whatever it is, and he takes delight in it. And so that's the whole.
I just love that you use that as an in to the parable of the talents. And so if you don't mind sharing a little bit of that too, I loved that.
I think so the parable of the talents is about money, so it's not necessarily about like talent and skill, but I think that I feel like the same concept applies in terms of what things have you been given from the Lord to steward of your time, of your talent, of your treasure, of your skills, your spiritual gifts, what season of life you're in. Are you young? Are you old? You have something to bring, or are you comparing it? And like the parable of the talents, the guy who gets the one talent, he goes out and buries it. He's ashamed. He's embarrassed. He doesn't think it's useful. And so then, the master comes back and he's like, what'd you do with it? And he's like, I buried it. And so I think how many times I relate to feeling like somebody's got more than me. And so I want to withhold because I feel embarrassed, or I want to withhold because I feel ashamed. I either don't want to bring it, or I don't bring my best because I know somebody's best is better than mine. Mm-hmm. And so, which I think probably for most of us, that's what we do. I think that we, we're gonna give it, we don't want to swing for the fences. We stopped swinging for the fences a long time ago because we realized that we couldn't hit a home run. And so we stopped swinging. Wow. And I think how many times as we get older in our relationship with Jesus, like we start hedging our bets. We start, because we're guarded, that we don't give our best. We don't show up with our best because it was either too painful, because I feel like started living through the eyes of man versus the eyes of Jesus. We felt like he must not enjoy this. Actually, we're embarrassed by other people's opinions, not actually God's opinion. And I think that if we went back to, Jesus, how do you feel? What do you feel when I bring you my gift? What do you feel when I give you my best? Oh, you smile? We got to come back to, that's whose face we're setting our attention and our gaze on, not the opinion of man and the world. So.
Yeah, preach. Come on. Maybe you just did this, but I think one of the things that you said to me was that the theme, so maybe not the song, but the theme of this message is one that you feel is a part of your life message and part of what you feel. Can you just expand on that a little bit and what that looks like and why you said that?
I think growing up, I'm a millennial, growing up in church, and the message of wholeheartedly following Jesus was give your life to the nations or give your life to full-time ministry. And I saw so many people say, in wanting to say yes to Jesus with their whole heart, they gave seasons to those things. But then when they are off the field or they're not in ministry, they are now battling, feeling like they don't love Jesus as much because the message that they heard was, this is what it looks like to love God. And I think that the reality is what it looks like to love God is saying, Jesus, how did you make me? What gifts have you given me? What talents do I have? What resources do I have? And how can I love you with my whole heart in every season of my life with what you've asked me to do? And my unique calling and my unique assignment. And ministry does not equate to wholeheartedness. Being on the field doesn't necessarily equate to wholeheartedness. And I want to help people find and discover that whether you're a young person and you've got a lot to give, I want to say give it. You better give it. Get your oil now, But to the mom who's up in the middle of the night, rocking her babies, like, I want her to know she can love Jesus with her whole heart in that moment. And to not withhold her love from Jesus because she thinks it's not enough. And so I think I just want to dispel the lie of this is what loving God looks like. And I want to say, love him right now. Love him where you're at right now. And what does that look like? And continually praise him. In the moment when you're up with your baby, praise Jesus in that moment. When you're, or you get some of your time back, your kids are now in school. Okay, let's seek the Lord again. And so I think I feel like it's a life message because I just want to give dignity to no matter how small your all may be, that you can love Jesus with that.
I remember being at Starbucks, I was working there 38 hours a week, something like that. And I was in school 20 plus hours a week, and I was serving at church 20 plus hours a week. And I felt that. I felt like I don't have time to give to Jesus. And it was conversations like this that prompted me to take my 10-minute breaks at Starbucks and send pray for somebody, and then send a video to them, like what the Lord might be speaking to them in that moment. And in that year, it was, it wasn't that long, but it was a time when it was like 80 hours of work a week, give or take. And 10 hours, give or take 10 hours. But it was like, okay, but I do have 10 minutes.
Yes.
And I do have my drive actually where I could listen to scripture or podcast or worship album. It doesn't have to be every drive, every time. It doesn't have to be every break, every time.
Right.
But there was a moment, it was like a conversation like this, that just reoriented, like, oh, okay, what do I have to give?
What do I
and
have
instead
to
of
give?
saying, instead of answering the question for me,
Yeah.
I don't have anything to give.
Yeah.
And that's hiding the talent that I do have,
Yes.
the resource that I do have, the time,
Yes.
the very little that I had.
Yeah.
Instead going, okay, well, what do I actually have to give? God, what do you want to do in this?
Yep.
And then would hear back from people. Oh man, that's exactly what the Lord needed to say to me right now. As people I wasn't spending time around because there was opportunities for ministry near and around me, but I was feeling like disconnected. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I think it's really powerful, and these conversations are so helpful.
Yeah.
And just to encourage you, they're so important to have because they'll reach people who are in moments
Yes.
like that, whether
Yes.
it's motherhood, whether it's
Yes.
being overworked, whether it's in a
Yes.
season of school or
Yes.
whatever it might be, or or just orienting yourself
Yeah.
in life as a young
Yes.
adult, trying to figure out
Yes.
all the demands of friendship and relationship and your career or whatever it might be. So
Well, I think it's like that love doesn't have to die.
yeah, exactly.
And you don't have to die. Like the passions that you have, the talents that you have. I think that when your margin feels crunched, feels squeezed, I think if we can go, okay, the percentage that I used to be able to give my time to that has lessened a whole lot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I have to punt on it and that it has to go away.
Yeah.
I think specifically with our relationship with Jesus, we just kind of put that in the basket of things that just gotta like be put on the back shelf because I don't have time for that. And I think I want to say, no, if you hold on to anything, like your percentage decreases, but you can still love Jesus in this season and don't let it die.
I think you talked about Matthew 25, but then you also talked about the widow and her two mites and the giving of just 2 coins in the midst of people giving a lot.
Right.
But that's what moved Jesus' heart. And I just think it just goes back to not seeing our scenario, our situation where we're at, and using that as, I can't give what I'd like to give, so I'm not going to give anything.
Yeah.
But also that we can give, this is what we talked about, what you just said, to give our all, to be wholehearted in every season. And what does that look like? And the reality is that I think most of the time, only you and Jesus know that.
Yeah.
And so I just think back to what we were talking about in expressive worship. The person who is dancing around and singing loud, but it is performative and it is for other people, Jesus knows that. And the person who is just, the fact that they're on their feet is like, I'm uncomfortable, but Jesus, I'm saying you're worthy, and I'm going to stand instead of sit. He sees that. So my point is just, it's not our job to judge
Yes.
other people's worship, other people's givenness, or our own. But like that we would say, Jesus, I want to give you all that I can and trust you with it.
Yeah.
And whether that's 2 coins or whether that's more, but would this move your heart? And so I just wanted to, I thought you bring in that idea of the widow and her 2 mites helps us not define givenness as a certain season in terms
Yes.
of you can give so much of your time or your talent or whatever, but that really this is as worship unto Jesus.
Yeah.
And maybe only the 2 of you know.
Yeah.
You sending
Probably.
texts over your 10-minute break, I mean, the people that received those, they would have heard it, but they don't know the sacrifice that was for you,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
No one knows the sacrifice.
Yeah.
But Jesus does.
Yeah. And it moves his heart.
Totally.
But there's also something about knowing it was a statement.
Yeah.
Like people did see it. And there is something about when someone is extravagant that it is moving.
Yeah.
And so there is an element of like, when you're in a tight-knit community and you are seen and known a bit more, to see someone do something a bit different that is sacrificial moves others to
Yeah.
give as well. And so we want to be extravagant. We want to be sacrificial because generosity is not a seasonal thing, but would it be generosity and extravagance?
Yeah.
And so what do we be asking? Okay, Lord, no, you are so worthy. What does extravagance look like for you right now? Like, I don't want to give the minimum. I don't want to give this is all I can give, but best is extravagance. And so, but my extravagance is different than your extravagance. But would the banner be God, you're worthy of our extravagance. And so what does extravagance look like in this season? Because I think it's easy to go, well, what's the minimum? And that's my all. But it's like, oh, but extravagance, that defines it a little differently.
Yeah.
And is he not worthy? And of the sacrifice, the sting, the rub, like, oh, no, he's worthy. Like, it would be easier for me to sit here and scroll on my phone, and look at another stupid, SNL video.
Yeah.
But Lord, like, okay, what is extravagant devotion? And that's who I want to be. And it's not defined by how my examples earlier, but what is extravagance for this season and this moment?
Yeah.
Because he's worthy.
During this sermon series, we had a night of lament, and I don't want to take too much time here, but I talked with a guy in our church who was really unsure. He's like, I don't really have time, but beyond that, I just never really done this. I'm not excited about the idea. I don't even really know what I would bring to it. But he said, but if God has anything for me there, even if it's uncomfortable, I'm willing to do it. And he said, one of my biggest fears is that I'll go there meant to cry, not cry. But you good on him for showing up. And he did. He came and he experienced it. And he said that he encountered something in the midst of that time. But that, for me, is wholeheartedness. That's the heart that says, I'm going to give, this is extravagant for me. I don't really understand it. I don't really know why we're doing it. I haven't seen it done. But I trust that God has something for me there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lay down my time and effort and energy, and even back to the other thing we said, but my autonomy, my choice in it. And I'm just going to trust that maybe there's something here. And that, for me, speaks to the same thing you're talking about. What little I have to bring, I'm going to, in faith, bring to God. I trust that he'll do something in the midst of it.
That's what confident trust is. And that's what an element of wholeheartedness is like, okay, it takes faith.
Yeah.
Like, does this even matter? And that's the age that we live in.
Yeah.
Like, we aren't coming looking at a real baby who's smiling at us.
Yeah.
And it's taking the eyes of faith going, okay, do I believe that you are smiling over me as I bring my all? And so, Lord, increase our faith.
Yeah. We ended the series with Joy to the World yesterday.
Yeah.
So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we can go quick on Joy to the World, but I think this is just for fun, part of why we wanted to have these conversations after the Sunday, kind of the Monday morning quarterbacking of it, is you never say everything you want. You never say it how you want. We're human beings here. So I'll just say that this is not fishing in any way. I think one of the things I felt during my message yesterday was, oh my gosh, this is a terrible sermon. No. And so here's why I say that, because I feel like, so we use Joy to the World I use it in order to talk about Luke 2. Look at me, talking Luke 2. Look at that. And I don't feel like I did justice to either of these, the beautiful song of what Joy to the World is, and the beautiful story in Luke 2. But in general, what we talked about is this moment when the angel and then the heavenly host come to the shepherds, and they make this statement, do not be afraid, and they make this statement, for we bring good news of great joy for all people. And so we just talked through what it looks like that it is. We started with, because Joy to the World, we started with great joy, and what it looked like that we have great joy, and then what is good news for all people. And so we talked about joy, we talked about the gospel, and then we talked about that this is for everyone. And so that was really the story. That was what we talked about, and where we went with Joy to the World. So I don't know. In it, the idea of joy, again, is not a happy feeling. It's not just that things are always good and positive and enthusiastic. And so I bashed on Christmas caroling because for some reason, as much as I love Christmas, that just sucks the Christmas spirit right out of me.
So funny.
I have a mother who is the embodiment of all enthusiasm, and she loves that, but so I'm singing about joy to the world with no joy on my face, And so what does it look like to choose joy and that it is a discipline to be developed, not just an emotion to be felt, and that it's a muscle that is often grown through resistance, and it's often grown through and so what are different ways? So we did a whole exercise of gratitude, and how do we meditate on gratitude, and a moment of good, and what God wanted to communicate through that. And so that was good, and then we just moved from joy to the good news, the gospel, tried to lay out that story, lay out what that was, and then finally that this is for everyone. This is good news for all.
Yeah.
So
I think what I would love to do is just have the two of you share just some vision with our church about where you think that we can implement these ideas we've talked about. So maybe even the practical of that exercise that we did. Or it could be other things about how do we discern if we're bringing all of our talents, or are we actually yearning and drawing, whatever it is that's come up. I would love just for you guys to share some of that directly with our people and just kind of encourage them as they go into the new year, as they're praying about what to look to God for and seek. So I would love some vision for that as we close out.
it's good. Yeah, I think the invitation is that we would respond to Jesus' coming near, and that we would, what you talked about, that we would get our eyes up above the fray to look to him, and through that, no matter what scenario life is looking like, as we head into a new year and make all the different, resolutions and goals, but that it would be with eyes fixed on Jesus and letting him define success, letting him define kind of the whether what we're doing is right, not the opinions of other people. And so I think that'd be my invitation, is to be worshipers. I think this was a worshiper, this was a series about worship, and that Jesus has come near. Let's see him, and then let's respond in praise and adoration and worship and in so doing, let's draw near to him.
Yeah, I think just remembering that for God so loved the world that he gave his son. And when we remember, I'm loved. I'm loved. I'm loved by the God of the ages, by the God of the universe. And to come back to that, and in the moments when I'm stressed and frazzled and afraid and all the things, okay, like just what you said, I'm gonna turn my eyes to Jesus. I'm gonna come to him. I'm gonna try to figure it out, within myself, but I'm gonna fix my eyes on Jesus and go and receive his love. Because I think that it's from receiving that then we have anything to give back or anything to give to others. And so I think this Christmas season, if I could say, if you can take any small moment of your day and turn your face towards him, let him lift your head and receive his love and say, okay, you love me, and you like me, and I want to love you too. And so I'm gonna, now what can I give? I had a friend years ago say, give an inch, not an overhaul. I think we have as we come up on the new year, we have a tendency to we're going to overhaul and make all of these goals for all of these changes that we long for change. We long for things to get better. We want things to be different. And so we set all of these lofty goals because we want to see change. And I think if I could encourage you to just give an inch, encounter the Lord, receive revelation from him, and then give another from that place of receiving. So give an inch, not an overhaul.
So good. Amen.
All right. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thanks for being with us at the Boulder Street Conversations podcast. Grateful that you would spend time with us. If you want to get more connected to our church, go to boulderstreet.org/connect. You can send us an email there, sign up for anything that we have. We'd love to get more connected with you. We'd love to see you on Sunday. We meet at 10 a.m. at 828 East Boulder Street.